This is question 8 from the WJC May 2019 Unit 1 Numeracy paper. So, a helicopter pilot is planning a route from Milford Haven, which is down here, to Rewabon, which is up here, and then on to Swansea. To plan the flights, the pilot needs to find the bearings from a map. So there are certain things we need to know about bearings, okay? So bearings always have 3 digits. So if it was, for example, 56, you would need to put 056. You always measure from north, okay, which is why all of these places have a north line drawn on them, and you always measure clockwise, so in that direction. So we measure from the north line in that direction. Okay, it's just like measuring angles. Okay, so you're going to need your protractor for this one. So it says find the bearing of Rewabon from Milford Haven. Now always highlight from where it says from and the name of whatever it is after that. That's your starting point. And that's where people make the mistakes on these papers, because they don't know where to start. So we're going to draw a line from Milford Haven to Rewabon, like so. Okay. And because it says from Milford Haven, I'm measuring from Milford Haven. So all I want to know is the size of this little angle here. So I get my protractor, line it up with 0, north pointing to 0, and then I measure round and I can see, well, I'm going to have to round it a little bit. I'm going to say it's 44 degrees, okay? So I wouldn't write 44, I would put 044 degrees. Now you do get a little bit of tolerance on this question. So if I'd put 44 or 45, I'm just going to check on the mark scheme for you. You would get it correct because the parameters are 45 plus or minus 2. So you could have 43, 44, 45, 46 or 47, okay? Right, so we're going to do the same thing again. It says find the bearing of Swansea from Rewabon. So again, highlight from and then the word that comes after it. So we're going from Rewabon to Swansea. So let's join them up. Rewabon to Swansea. Okay, and this time, because we're going from Rewabon, I want this bearing here. So I need to measure that angle, okay? So first of all, I know it's going to be over 180, so I don't need to worry about my 3 digits. So from north all the way around is 180, so I'm going to swizzle my protractor round, okay? And then if I measure it back to the north line here, I want this line here. So I know that's 21 degrees. So I need to do the 180 plus the 21, which is 201 degrees. And again, I'll check on the mark scheme for you, but if I'd put 201, I would get it right because it's 202 plus or minus 2 degrees again. So you could have 200, 201, 202, 203, 204. Okay? Right, so let's have a look at the next part of this question. So we've got now, the plan for the flight is shown below. So it says the journey, Milford Haven to Rewabon. They travel at an average speed of 90 miles per hour and the time is 1 hour 20 minutes. Rewabon to Swansea, 80 miles per hour, 1 hour 15 minutes. Calculate the total distance of the flight. Give your answer in miles, so we don't need to do any conversions. You must show all your working. Okay, so this is where we don't have a calculator and we're doing something with speed, distance and time. So first of all, I need to know what calculation I need to do to work out distance. So everybody always remembers that speed equals distance divided by time. Everybody remembers that way. So if I want the distance, these two would be multiplied together. So distance equals speed times time. Okay, so you could do it that way. Okay, gets complicated though because we're looking at 1 hour 20 minutes. So how would you multiply 90 by 1 hour 20 minutes? Now that's quite tricky. So I'm not actually going to use this. We're going to have it there just in case, you know, some of you might choose to use that formula, but I wouldn't. So this is how I would do it. So I'm going to label this journey 1 and this journey 2. So number 1, what it tells me is that every hour, so this miles per hour is the key here. So what this is telling me is that it travels, so on that journey, you travel 90 miles every hour. Okay, so there's our 1 hour already. So we've got 90 miles. Okay, that's representing 90 miles. So 1 hour equals 90 miles. How would we work out then 20 minutes? Now you've got to think about, so if we had a clock, you know, and we had all the times on it, so 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Right, if it's 20 minutes, it's this section here. Okay, now I can do another 20 minutes, which is to there, and another 20 minutes takes me back round. So actually, this is a third of an hour. So this is a third. So if we know you travel 90 miles in 1 hour, how far would you travel in a third of an hour? Well, you would just need to do the calculation 90 divided by 3 because you want a third of it, which is 30. So you travel 30 miles in 20 minutes. So in total for this one, they're going to travel 120 miles in 1 hour, 20 minutes. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do the same thing with the other. So the second journey says 80 miles every hour. Okay, so we want our 1 hour, which is 80 miles. Then I only want 15 minutes. Now, how much of an hour is 15 minutes? Well, you should know that one. It's a quarter, isn't it? Because it's this part now. So we're splitting it into 4. So it's a quarter. So we actually need to divide that by 4. So 80 divided by 4, which is 20 miles. So when I add those together, I'm traveling 100 miles on that part of the journey. So all we need to do now is to find the total distance of the flight. Is just add those two things together. So it travels 220 miles. This method is really helpful when you're working with speed, distance and time in a non-calculator paper. This is how I would show you every time. Okay, right, the last part looks complicated, probably is. It's 5 marks. We've also not got a lot of space, so let's have a look what it says. On average, the helicopter uses 0.4 gallons of fuel per minute. Okay, I'm going to highlight that bit. So we need to remember this. So we've got a little conversion now to do, but it gives it for you, which gives it to you, which is really nice. Use this information to calculate how many litres of fuel the helicopter would be expected to use for the flight planned. So we want to know how many litres of fuel are used for this flight up here. Okay. Now it's per minute. So we're looking at the time. Okay. So we're going to have to work on, so I'm going to just jot it down here, 1 hour 20 and 1 hour 15. Okay, so there are times. So that's how long each journey took. Okay, so we're going to work out how many minutes the journey took. Then we're going to work out how many gallons of fuel that used. And then we're going to convert it into litres. Okay, so let's turn this into minutes first. So I know that each of the hours is worth 60. So I've got 60 plus 60. Plus the 20 minutes, plus the 15 minutes. So 60 add 60 is 120, 140, 155 minutes. Okay, right. So that's how long they travelled for. It was 0.4 gallons per minute. So I'm going to have to multiply this by 0.4. So 155 times 0.4. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to times it by 4 and then divide my answer by 10 for this 0 point part. So 155 times 4. 5 4s are 20. 5 4s are 20. 2 more is 22. and then 1's 4 is 4, add 2 more is 6. So I've got 620. Now I'm going to divide it by 10 to account for this 0 point. So it uses 62 gallons of fuel. Okay, right, we're doing quite well. So now all I've got to do is convert this into litres. If 1 gallon is 4.55 litres, I'm going to just have to multiply 62 by 4.55, sorry. So 62 times 4.55. Right, so I'm going to do something similar. I'm going to multiply it by 455, and then I'm going to have to divide my answer by 100 this time to account for me changing it to 455. Okay, so I'm going to use a grid for this. So I've got this. Yeah, we'll do it that way. So I've got 62 and I've got 455. Okay, so I'm going to fill in the grid. So 6 4s are 24, and I've got 3 zeros. 6 times 5 is 30, and 2 more zeros. 6 times 5 is 30, and 1 0. 2 times 400 is 800. That's 100, and that's 10. Right, so let's add that one up. So I don't like adding them up like that. So let's do it properly. So I've got 24,000. 3,000, 300, 800, 110. Okay, so let's add all of those up. So take care with your place value on this one. I made a little mistake there, but I realized it was in the wrong place. So just make sure you keep an eye on it. So 0, 1, 8, 9, 12, carry the 1, 4, 7, 8, 2. Okay, so I've got 28,210. And what I said was, because I multiplied by 100 here to get it to 455, I'm going to have to divide my answer by 100, which means it used 282.1 litres of fuel. So I should write my answer on the answer line like that.